All right, just want to remind everyone that this session is being recorded and will be uploaded to YouTube either tonight or tomorrow. So hang on for just a second. Okay, there goes the chat window. All right, so today is the Cisco Live Roundup and why you should attend Cisco Live and also other tech conferences. How's my audio sound? Awesome. Okay, so I expect this should probably be about 30 to 45 minutes or so. Won't be too long. We're going to kind of blaze through this. Topics we are going to cover are, we're going to talk about the Sunday night meeting that we had. We're going to talk about the keynotes, both the beginning and ending. The walk-in self-paced labs, which are probably the best kept secret at Cisco Live. Everyone should do them. DevNet viral updates, so what I learned from talking to the viral guys. Exhibit hall and swag, some of the cool stuff we saw. Talk a little bit about the passes, so does it really matter what pass you get? Some of the benefits from going to Cisco Live and other tech conferences as well, along with some action items for you guys to do, and we'll end up with the food and parties thing. So talking about the Sunday night meeting, we had 16 people attend, great turnout. We had William from the New York group. He brought along a couple people. We had people from CDW. Catherine was there. We had some people from tech exams. Just everyone far exceeded my expectations. I was expecting about 6 people, but we got 16. We were supposed to go to Hooters, but there was a basketball game open. All the tables were taken. So then we rerouted down to a place called Dick's Last Resort. And cool thing about this place is the waiters are very sarcastic. So they like throwing things at you. They like putting you down. They write weird messages on your hat, that type of stuff. So if you like places or off-the-wall restaurants like that where the waiters treat you like crap, then Dick's Last Resort is all right. And our bar tab, I think, came out. If you total everything up, it was probably in the neighborhood of just shy of $500. But thank you to Neno of CDW and Catherine from Cisco for picking up and expensing some of that tab. So that helped out quite a bit. And then, of course, everyone else that paid. So a Sunday night meeting, great hit. We'll do it for the next Cisco Live. We will have a Sunday night meeting at a similar place. Keynotes. Opening keynote, John Chambers, he's leaving. This was his last keynote for Cisco Live. Awesome speaker. Never heard him in person before. Great speaker. He moves through the crowd very easily. So while he talks, he's just kind of weaving in and out. Very, very good. Very charismatic. So I can definitely see how he was able to lead Cisco for 20-some years. His main themes for the keynote were basically fast IT, disrupt or be disrupted, and don't do the same thing, don't do the right thing for too long. So the main theme was basically you got to change or else the world is going to pass you by. And they had some new commercials to show off. And basically, if you haven't seen the new Cisco commercial, it's kind of scary because it's basically a 12-year-old Indian girl going, I'm going to be your competition. I'm going to own you. You're going to get destroyed by me when I grow up. That type of stuff. So kind of depressing for us, but it just shows you that that's the direction they're aiming at. With cloud, being able to spin up things fast. ACI, being able to virtually spin up a network, have all devices set up, that type of stuff. Being able to react and change stuff very, very quickly. So initially, I was thinking, don't go to the opening keynote, but I'm glad I did. I'm very happy that I went to see John Chambers. The closing keynote was Mike Rowe, awesome speaker, great speaker. He talked about how he got his start with Dirty Jobs. So what came before Dirty Jobs was a local TV station where he would visit certain places, and his first big thing was visiting the San Francisco sewers with his cameraman, and it was kind of a nasty story because he was talking about all the stuff he saw and got hit with, and Yeah, yeah. If you're eating right now, I'm not going to tell you because you'll probably throw up. So it was a great story, and he left off with basically, skilled labor is still important. The plumbers, the electricians, those type of people, very needed. They can't find enough of these people, and he's got a foundation that helps people find those jobs, that helps people become apprentices as plumbers, carpenters, farmers, that type of stuff. So, uh, if you've heard Mike Rowe before, he talks a lot about how society pushes people towards a 4-year degree, and sometimes that's not needed by some people. Some people are quite happy with being farmers and electricians and plumbers and that type of stuff. Also, he compared network guys to plumbers. You're the plumbers, the modern day plumber of of the 21st century. So, Mike Rowe, great speaker, awesome stuff. The closing keynote a couple years ago in Cisco Live was the Mythbusters guy. That was also a good keynote where they talked about certain experiments that didn't work, and also like a behind the scenes look. So very well worth it. Highly recommend going to both the opening and closing keynotes. I also heard the tech keynote, not Tuesday, but I think it was either Tuesday or Wednesday. There was a tech keynote that a lot of people said was pretty good. Walk-in self-paced labs. So there's a place at Cisco Live called The Hub, and The Hub has a lot of cool stuff, but the main thing is the walk-in self-paced labs. These are workstations, all with dual monitors. They all had Intel NUCs, which is pretty cool. But what it was is you would go up and you would say, all right, I want to do a CCIe IPv4, IPv6 lab, troubleshooting. Or I want to do DMVPN, or I want to do BGP, or I want to do layer 2 CCIe. So they had about, 40 different labs that you could do. And for CCIe, there were about, I want to say 7? Yeah, about 7 to 8 that were CCIe specific. So you could go in there, and there were proctors there to help you out if you had questions, and I took a screenshot of one of them. This was a CCIe SP, service provider, lab that did, it was just OSPF and ISIS. So the top portion here was IPv4, and the bottom portion was IPv6. It was just layered on top of each other. So it was fun. Basically, neighbors didn't come up, routes were wrong, just everything that was wrong could go wrong. Everything blew up. So very good practice. Only downside was the first couple days, the room was cold. The room was so cold that the seat next to me, the people would sit down, and 5 to 10 minutes later they would leave. They're just like, it's too cold. And then so what I did is I said, okay, I'm coming back, but I'm wearing a jacket and a beanie. And I came back the next day with a jacket and a beanie, and of course, they fixed the cold, and I didn't need it. So, walk-in self-paced labs. If you go to Cisco Live, try to spend a lot of your time. If you're going for CCIe, spend a lot of your time at the walk-in self-paced labs, and your Explorer badge gets you in. No problem at all. There's no real time limit either. You could stay there all day if you wanted to. Well, they might say something if you stayed all day, but I didn't seem to run into that problem. Question so far before we get into viral updates. Okay, speaking of viral, some of you have downloaded viral and used it in various forms. So maybe you used it for a while, or maybe you haven't used it at all. Oh, maybe I should paste this. I'm going to paste the HackPad link into the chat so you can follow along. So viral, talked to the developers quite a bit. The best thing that is going to come out in the coming months, I guess, in the next version of viral, is that you will no longer need VM Maestro. So no VM Maestro. And if you don't know what VM Maestro is, it's that extra program So after you start up the VM, VM Maestro is what helps you make the topology and what makes you start it up. So now what it's going to be, it's all going to be browser based. You'll make the topology and start it all within the browser. So you don't need to launch another program. So this should solve the complexities quite a bit. Also, what they were showing off is highlighting of network links. And so what this does is, if you have your PuTTY session open, you highlight a subnet, you highlight an address in PuTTY, then the associated link on your web page will light up yellow or something like that. So what's cool about this is it gives you a better visualization of what's happening on your network. You just highlight this particular /24, and then it shows you on the map which one it is. So I thought that was cool. The devs also talked about easier installation, so they realized that the installation could be a lot better, right? Not a lot of people know Linux. And one surprising thing the developer told me, or one of the developers told me, is that a lot of guys using Viral don't know what a VM is. Or they've had questions about this where a guy's a network guy, but he's never run a VM before, which boggles my mind, but I guess it happens. And they're like, what's VM? How do I run this in VMware? Or, how do I do ESXi or something like that? Which sounds kind of crazy, but it happens. So easier installation, no more editing of that INI file. They're going to that whole salt hash thing and the NTP. They know about these problems and they're working on it to make it better. A lot of you have questions about the 15 device limit. And they've gotten a lot of questions about it, and I asked them about it, and they said their data points, so they track the usage of Viral, and they said most people, vast majority of people, use Viral for 4 devices. 4 devices. So the way they look at it is there's no need to actually go more than 15, and along with that is, do people actually have a computer that can run more than 15 devices efficiently? So they asked me, well, what kind of computer do you have? And I run it on a Asus 24 gig laptop. They're like, oh, okay, you're server class laptop. But they said not everyone has it. But my counterpoint to that was, for a guy who's going for CCIE, they're invested in gear. They've got usually better equipment, and so they would probably want an option for 20 devices, 25 devices, or whatever. So I just threw that out there. They're looking at it. They said that technically it's not that difficult to do 20 devices or 25 devices. It's just that the way they look at it is there a need for that? Will people use it? And also there's some political stuff in the background. So they didn't really get too much into the political stuff, but you can probably imagine what the political stuff is. Okay, the exhibit hall and swag. So the exhibit hall, huge exhibit hall. In the back section is all Cisco stuff, everything from telepresence to firewalls to Invicta to new routers, new switches, UCS of course, just all types of stuff. And you can kind of weave your way through to get little demos. And then at the hub, in other sections, there were other Cisco reps that were able to do whiteboard sessions, which is pretty cool, right next to the walk-in self-paced labs. And they also had something called the Whisper Rooms, which I didn't exactly understand what they were for, but it kind of looks like Whisper, okay, quiet, no cell phones, private room, private talking, that type of stuff. So some of the cool things we saw was this Cisco telepresence. I think this is the IX something. Triple screen. Along here, you can see on the table, these are all directional microphones that can follow you. So that's pretty cool. There's a very nice webcam up here. It does 4K. And they also had a stand-up mode. And what the stand-up mode was is normally if you do telepresence and webcam, if this guy stands up, he's going to get cut off at the head, right? Because he's going to stand up out of the frame. So there's a stand-up mode which follows the guy, and it doesn't actually tilt the camera. The camera is fixed but because it's a 4K camera, it crops it to where you could see everything. So I thought that was quite cool. I didn't ask the price for this, but you can imagine how much this part is. They also had other telepresence devices that were kind of like a big ass iMac monitor with the camera. You also had the MX series, so they had lots of cool telepresence was really cool. And iRobot, they had a robot running around. It's kind of like a Roomba iPad that was moving around and bumping into people. It was kind of cool. So really cool device out of my price range. But what's cool about this? After we were in the demo for about 10 minutes talking to the guy. Oh, also bandwidth. It's interesting. It goes over as H.264. I'm trying to remember like all the talking points. And so H.264, I think, don't quote me on this, but 16 to 18 megabits per second for a 1080p, or it might have been a 4K link, but the HD link, 16 to 18 megabits per second. It did have an option to go up and use H.265, and for the H.265 it basically cut this guy in half. So there was that option, which was pretty good. So this was not too bad. Very good demo. And then along here we had MGig. MGig was nice. So if you haven't heard of what MGig is, so the problem that this tries to solve is 802.11ac. So if you have an 802.11ac AP, you know that 802.11ac can go up to 1 point something gigs per second. And if you're a wave 2 and wave 3, it's going to go up even higher. So your APs normally have a 1 gig connection, right? So the wireless traffic is going to be faster than your 1 gig connection to your switch. So to solve this, and so we don't have to rewire everything, what we can do with MGig is, if you buy the appropriate parts, you can use the same Cat5e cable or Cat6 and get from 4 to 10 gigabits per second. Voodoo Magic, I don't know how exactly it works, but black Voodoo Magic, and there you go. And I think one of these was a 3850 switch, a brand new 3850 switch, and they were demoing how fast the packets go through and stuff like that. So that was MGig. I think that's a good idea. Cisco also has something else that they were showing off, is called BiDi. And this was getting 4 gigabit a second through your existing multi-mode fiber. So you don't have to rip and replace to get 4 pairs of fiber. Just run and get 1 pair and get 40 gigabits a second out of it. So that was pretty cool. Potentially save yourself a lot of money. Let's see, some swag. Let's talk about swag in the exhibit hall. So this is Catherine with her swag bag. Bags, plural. 1, 2, 3, maybe a backpack in there. So 3 or 4 bags of stuff in there. T-shirts galore. Swords. This is a Plixer scrutinizer sword. Very prized possession. Makes cool sounds. There's also a lightsaber that Cisco gave out. Cool thing about the swords and stuff, they want you sometimes to sit through a presentation or scan your badge or stuff like that. But if you go on the last day and like the last hour of the exhibit hall, basically what happens is they wheel all this stuff out and they stand by the escalators. That's how I got my lightsaber, is this lady was standing by the escalator. It's like, hey, I'm just getting rid of these lightsabers and just, let me scan your badge, and just lightsaber, lightsaber, lightsaber. So quite cool with the swag. And let's see, and there's a bookstore on the second floor. They were giving out, it was 20% off. I wish the discount was a little bit higher. But then what was cool is, I didn't know this, but after buying a regular book, they were giving out the policy-driven data center with ACI for free. So that's a $70 book that they were just tossing in there. I'm guessing they just wanted to get rid of this and just like get it out there. And what's cool is if you were sitting kind of by yourself on one of the tables upstairs, they had survey takers that were walking around and asking you about how you thought about Cisco and what do you think about the Internet of Everything, different buzzwords, just to see if their advertising campaign was working, to see if their social media and Twitter campaigns were working to get the word out. And, they want honest answers, and I gave them honest answers, and they gave me a $10 gift certificate after that, which was not bad. So then I used it to help buy that book. So it kind of worked out. Okay, let's talk about the passes. Difference between the Explorer Pass, Social Pass, and the Full Pass. I think Mike's on this call. Mike, you got the Full Pass, right? And then William from New York was also on the Full Pass. So the full Pass lets you go into the actual meetings, the actual sessions, the learning sessions themselves, and a couple of other things. What I did is I went for the Explorer Pass, the cheapo $49 pass. So that's the Explorer Pass. And the Social Events Pass, I think, was $149. And my buddy who still works at Panda got that. So the difference between them, couple differences. On the Full Pass, you get the sessions, the learning sessions. So you get the sessions, and they have people at the door to scan your badge to make sure you got the Full Pass. And you get the catered lunch, the boxed lunches. So when they bust out with the lunches, you can get the meals. Now, the cool thing is, okay, so it's a bummer if you don't get the box lunches, but I figured out that if you go in to the convention center kind of around 2 p.m., they've got drinks, they've got snacks, maybe it's left over from the box lunches, I don't know, but cupcakes, ice cream. I mean, it's just, you're not going to go hungry if you go in at 2 p.m. So I don't think I actually missed out that much on the Explorer Pass. Plus, in the exhibit hall, there's always food in the exhibit hall. There's drink in the exhibit hall, especially that first day, the Monday. That was cool. Monday night was the exhibit hall reception. And I thought, a lot of people thought that these food events or these receptions, you needed the social pass or the full pass. But as long as you were in that room, you were in. So all the alcohol you could drink, it's kind of weird to just walk up to a bar and grab a beer. No ticket or anything. There was food everywhere. Food was pretty good. And so this was happening throughout the days. The Explorer Pass, I felt, did not really hinder me too much. So $49 well spent. Social Events Pass, I'm confused about the Social Events Pass. I don't know why you spend $149. Maybe someone can educate me. But I was able to get into everything I needed to get into, in addition to the party, the Aerosmith party at the end. So, I don't know what the Social Events Pass is really for. There was also confusion from some people I know about the Explorer Pass. If you needed to pay $40, they thought that you had to pay $49 a day, and so here's what they thought. They thought the $149 Social Events Pass was to cover the whole week. And then they believed that the $49 Explorer Pass, you had to buy Explorer Pass for every day. So that was their thinking, which I don't think is correct. So, once again, if someone figures out, email me so I can update this. So yeah. Regular Explorer Pass, just fine. No problem at all. You have pretty much quite a bit of freedom to do whatever. All right, some of you are probably wondering, okay, is it worth it? What's the benefit I get from going to these tech conferences like Cisco Live, like RSA, like Black Hat, DEF CON, TourCon, DerbyCon, all these different conferences are out there. So the main thing is, yeah, there's sessions and everything, but I think the main thing is to make connections. You make connections, it'll help you out in your job, it'll help you get new jobs. And if you don't know already, I'm currently interviewing with Cisco, and this was a direct result of going to Cisco Live and then going to a SigmaNet party. So just the ball started rolling on that. So I had an interview today with Cisco at 1 p.m. So, and of course to learn new stuff, also for motivation as well. You're walking around, you get all jazzed, you see cool stuff that you haven't seen before, you talk to people, they just got their CCIE. The guy gets his CCIE and you look at him and goes, well, is he really that much smarter than me? Does he not eat the same food I do? Does he not drink the same water? He's not an alien, he's a human being, so therefore I can get my CCIE too, right? So, that type of motivation where, why does this guy have CCNP or CCIE and I don't, right? That type of stuff. And case in point, you get to see people like Neil Moore right here. Good old Neil Moore, Mr. 8 CCIE. So every CCIE you get a little extra badge thing here. So, so you get to put these on. And he has so many right now that the Cisco employee doesn't even bother to put these on because he gets them crooked. So I guess he said the Cisco employee just gave him the 8 stickers and like, you do it yourself. You figure it out. You got too many of these. So he's cool. And humble guy, funny guy. And it was funny because he's like, yeah, I got another one since I last saw him. I got number 8. And then he looked at my badge. He's like, oh, you're still working on your first one. I was like, oh, man, that's wrong. So Neil Moore is walking around. Mark Snow is walking around. Andre's walking around. Like Narvik was walking around, and I missed him. So lots of people walking around. Mike raised their flag. What's up, Mike? All right, continuing on. Okay, some action item. Well, let's talk about some food and parties and then go into our action items. Food everywhere. I think I made much more than my $49 in alcohol itself. I've probably tripled my alcohol tolerance. Going to different parties. There was Tuesday was just a blur because you're hopping from party to party. One tip for you guys, if you're going to do you should do the party hopping if you're going to Cisco Live. If you buy Cisco, you have an account manager, an AM. You also have an SE. Get to know your AM because your AM will have hookups for parties. So you can follow your AM and you'll just get into every party. There's going to be no questions asked. CDW, SigmaNet, DynTech, Fusion Storm, never even heard of Fusion Storm, Cisco, a customer appreciation party, whatever party you want to get into, you'll be able to get to if you just go with an SE or an AM. So that's a case in point, a tip for you guys. If you kind of hate the groveling for invites and stuff like that. So just a couple pictures. This was from the Hard Rock place. That's a Jack and Coke. This was I think this was a Wednesday. They rolled out this big cart with ice cream sandwiches and stuff. Just tons of ice cream. And I think I grabbed 6 of these things. And no one looks at you strange. Just you grab 6, and I ate 3 and I gave 3 away, and everything was good. But you'll never go hungry on the Explorer Pass if you know where to look. You just have to be a little persistent on looking. Food, this was from the CDW party. That was some good food. It was tacos and tequila and carne asada and stuff like this. This was SigmaNet's party, sushi, some other cool stuff. This was really good sushi, by the way. And this was from a Cisco party, I think. All that alcohol. A couple of most of the parties was open bar where you could just ask for anything. Some of them had tickets, so one ticket, one drink. But yeah, this particular one was by tickets, but if you went out and came back in, they gave you more tickets. So it was like whatever. And of course, the end it all thing was the Aerosmith, which I think, I mean, just the Aerosmith alone was worth it. Just seeing, I never saw Aerosmith before, so having a stadium just for Cisco Live people was pretty cool. And thanks to SunGuard for letting us in their stadium suite. It was quite cool. We were elevated position, could see a lot more. So SunGuard, very good, very cool company. Okay, some action items. So here's what I want from you guys before next year's Cisco Live. So next year's Cisco Live is going to be in Las Vegas, mid-July 2016. I want you to go right after this. Go on your Google Calendar, whatever calendar you use, probably Google Calendar. Go into mid-January and just put in a reminder for yourself to register for Cisco Live and to start booking tickets and planes and stuff like that. Get your vacation time all sorted out and stuff like that. So, give yourself enough lead time to plan this all out so you're not spending crazy money going to Cisco Live. Okay, so that's a tip for you guys. Just put it on your Google Calendar, and then you can forget about it all the way up until January, and then it's going to pop up on your phone and smack you in the face. Also, because it's in Vegas, in mid-July, we have a unique opportunity. And that unique opportunity is in August, is Black Hat, B-Sides, and DEF CON. Right? So in August, here we go in July, Cisco Live. So, what does this mean? I think it's 2 to 3 weeks in between this one and this one. 2 weeks. Let's say 2 weeks. So we have a unique opportunity to actually do a in the US boot camp here. What the fuck? Hey, mute yourself. Thank you. All right. So we have a unique opportunity to have a boot camp between Cisco Live and Black Hat, DEF CON, and B-Sides. So if you want to book, I mean, if you got like a crap ton of vacation time, you could just basically book 3 or 4 weeks, and that will be all tech stuff in Vegas. Also, tip for you guys. I'll give you a good tip. Tuscany Suites in Vegas. $60 a night. Humongous rooms, awesome place. This is my best kept secret from Cisco Live, or not, from the last B-Sides in Vegas. Book this stuff early. You don't want this to go away. It's going to be, you can fit like 8 people in these things if you wanted to. But for $60 a night, $70 a night, this is awesome. And it's fairly close to the convention center. So Tuscany Suites. Highly, highly recommended. And I'll be staying there again for Black Hat, B-Sides, and DEF CON. Okay, so by next Cisco Live, I would like RouterGods to have at least 10 more CCNAs, which I think is doable. 5 more CCNPs, which I think is very doable. And 5 more CCIEs. So, by the time we hit Cisco Live, when we meet that Sunday of Cisco Live, we should have 5 more CCIE numbers. Hopefully one of them's me, but we'll see, right? So I think we have enough people in both the NARBIC and the INE study groups to make that goal. And we may really kick ass on the CCIE front here. I mean, it is possible that we could have 10 to 15 more, which would be really, really bitchin'. But we'll aim low on that one and overshoot. We'll promise low and then hit high on that one. So Mike Carlin said I remember him talking with me. He got 2 job offers 10 minutes from, so very close to his house. So Mike lives in Kansas City. And you can talk about it, Mike. I see you got your mic on. There you go. See? So if you take the chance, you take the risk, you get the reward. So that is why you should go to tech conferences. Several of my jobs have been a direct result of meeting people at conferences like Cisco Live and DEF CON. So if you have any questions at all about going to a conference, just throw them out the window. You need to go. There was another comment in Slack from someone who said, "Well, I don't even have my CCNA yet. I don't know enough to go to Cisco Live," and that's complete BS. The best time to go to these conferences is when you know very little, because everything will be awesome because you've never seen it before. When I was young, when I was just starting off, I went to a conference called, you guys probably don't remember this one, Internet World. Long since dead, rest in peace. So when I started off, I went to Internet World. I didn't even know I kind of knew what a router was, but I never seen one up in person. Switches, firewall, all this stuff is like, what the hell is this? But you go to these conferences and you see the money involved. You just kind of absorb it, and then when you go home, you can look it up, study more and stuff like that. So, yeah, just don't worry about whether you're smart enough to go to a conference or not. It's completely fine. Just go even if you don't have any certs at all. And if you need to get your CCNA, you got the Certification Center, which everything is 50% off. 50% off tests. Can't beat that, right? So take all your CCNA and CCNP tests right there at Cisco Live. Okay, any questions before we close this one out? Once again, this is recorded, will be uploaded to YouTube, but any questions before we close it out and then I start doing the CCIE NARBIC guys? Okay, looks like we're good. I'm going to stop the recording.